The French invaded Vietnam for their resources, as many of the other Western countries already had a presence in Asia, and the French saw an opportunity to invade and take resources. This sparked fights and involved winning a war, but by 1887 they had a firm grip on northern Vietnam. Their taking of resources included the direct exportation of rice, coal, rare minerals, and also rubber as their biggest products. Also thriving in Vietnam at the time were breweries, distilleries, small sugar refineries, rice and pepper mills, and glass and cement factories. Due to French greed and their own goals in mind, only a small fraction of the profits from this endeavor were reinvested back into Vietnam. Instead, their aim was to attain immediate high returns for their investors and not the systematic economic development of the colony. On November 23, 1946, fighting broke out in Haiphong between the Viet Minh government and the French, and as a result, the French fleet began a naval bombardment of the city that ended up killing 6,000 Vietnamese civilians in just one afternoon. The Viet Minh then agreed to a ceasefire and left the city as a result of French ground troops continuing the fight post-shelling of the city. Due to the Vietnamese people's fierce nationalism, they were not going to give up. The Viet Minh returned with 30,000 men to attack the city. Despite being hopelessly outnumbered, the French drove off the attack with their superior weaponry and naval support, thus beginning the start of the Vietnamese guerrilla war tactics.
Guerrilla warfare is a form of irregular warfare in which a small group of combatants, such as armed civilians or regulars, use military tactics including ambushes, sabotage, raids, petty warfare, hit-and-run tactics, and mobility to fight a larger and less mobile traditional military. Modern guerrilla warfare tactics started in the 20th century. Guerrilla warfare started in China with the Sun Tzu in The Art of War, 6th century BCE. This inspired communist leaders like Mao Zedong and North Vietnamese Ho Chi Minh. Vietnamese would target isolated French military outposts so they could take out the easy targets and slowly cut into the French defenses.
The Vietnamese had two main political leaders throughout their struggle with the French. One being General Vo Nguyen Giap, the military leader of the Viet Minh, who was responsible for their fierce tactics such as guerrilla warfare. General Giap had great faith in his troops to fight harder than their opponents, as he has said in an interview. Our army's strength lies in its morale and in its technique. Ho Chi Minh, being General Giap's political equivalent, was the leader of the Vietnamese Communist Party. Although he was considered to be nationalist by many, he was still greatly loved by his people. They called him Uncle Ho, and he was able to get them to rally around him during wartime efforts. This had a large effect on how they fought against the French and their overall morale throughout the war.